One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Steve Whitcock,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same,
to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Well, I can announce all of them now. I could announce 50 to 100 deals right now because, I'm the shopkeeper and I keep the store. And, I know what countries are looking for and I know what we're looking for. And I can just set those terms and they can go shopping or they don't have to go shopping because everybody wants to shop here. This is like a beautiful store. This is like one of Bernard Arnault, or maybe I should say Alex, even more importantly, Young, the future. But Bernard's an honor to have you. We'll have a meeting after this. But he has the greatest stores in the world, and they want to shop. Our country is the greatest store in the world of that kind, and everybody wants a piece of it. And they took advantage of us for years because we allowed our presidents allowed it to happen. I don't blame China, and I don't blame Vietnam, and I could name every single country all the way up and down the line, South Korea. Every single country took advantage of us, without exception. Japan, these are friends of mine, but they took advantage of this country. They ripped off our country, selling us millions and millions of cars a year, and we sold them none. We weren't allowed to sell them a car. They took advantage of us. I don't blame them. I blame the people that sat behind that desk that allowed it to happen, but I don't allow it to happen. I didn't in the first term, but this is a much stronger position because we did We had the greatest economy in history in our first term. Stock market was up 88%, and we had numbers much better than that. But this is going to be, I think, a much better term, and I think the tariffs are coming in, starting to come in. We were losing $5 billion plus a day on trade. Now we're not losing that kind of money, and we'll soon be making a lot of money a day and a year and a month.
So, welcome to the evening show. Some things happened since our afternoon show. Some big things happened, which we're going to go through. First and foremost, that was Steve Witkoff being sworn in as the envoy ambassador to the Middle East. Steve Envoy is basically the Swiss Army knife of the Trump campaign. And I mean that with all due respect. Whenever he needs something done, Steve Witkoff, hey, go send Steve. Steve, get over to Ukraine, get over to China. Whatever needs to happen, Israel, Gaza, Steve Witkoff has been the man that Trump trusts dearly to get some of this stuff done. And so now he's talking about, for some reason, the media doesn't get this whatsoever. They can't put it into their thick heads that we are the world's consumer. Everybody wants us. Imagine you want to open up a restaurant, and you want to open up a restaurant, and the people who can afford your steak, who can afford your seafood, who can afford the valet parking. You don't open that restaurant in the hood. You definitely don't want to open it in the hood. You want to open it where the best, most affluent, the most advantageous consumers will be around your restaurant. And President Trump has been trying to tell the media, that's us. For some reason, they don't want to listen. For some reason, all they care about is just destroying America. And I used to think maybe it was just, opposition to President Trump. But I'm like, no. If you want people to prosper, if you want this country to prosper, you should want it to prosper under any president. But no, all they do is tear down, tear down, tear down, and they have no message whatsoever to the American people, except hate Trump, which isn't going to work long term. But President Trump continued taking some questions after they swore in Steve Witkoff.
Really crunch time. I would tell you, for Iran and for their country, this is a very important time for Iran. This is the most important time in the history of Iran for Iran. And I hope they do what's right. I'd love to see a peace deal, a strong peace deal. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. But I would say that this is the single most important period in the history of Iran, which is a long history. And we want it to be a great country. Let it be a tremendously successful, rich country. They have everything you need. The people are incredible. They have vast amounts of oil and assets. We want it to be a successful country. We don't want to do anything that's going to get in the way of that, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. And if they choose to go a different route, it's going to be a very sad thing. And it's something we don't want to have to do, but we have no choice. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Do you understand that? Okay. I can say unrelated to that, she's a disaster for New York. She's a horrible, horrible human being.
This is who he's talking about, is Letitia James, Big Letty. I don't know why they would have dared to ask a question about Letitia James in a press conference, but they made the mistake, and so he's letting them know.
And I think she's a total crook. There's no question about it, but that's just my opinion. Pam's going to have to do what she wants. She's a very bad person. She's a very, very bad person who campaigned solely on, I'm going to get Donald Trump over and over again. She's a sick person, but that's has nothing to do with what Pam does. Pam is going to do what's right. She always does. I've known her a long time.
What's interesting about that is now it's graduated to the Pam's going to take care of that. What exactly do you mean there? Because that's the first indication at this point that Pam Bondi is on the Letitia James case. He's never made that acknowledgement. So now Big Letty's got something to seriously worry about. She was crying before. She was moaning. She was afraid of Trump. Now Trump's like, I don't even have to worry about it. She's going to handle the small work. So Big Letty, you can talk all you want, but you're about to get the full force of the Department of Justice coming down on your shoulders. You're a big woman. Maybe you can handle it. But the one thing I can tell you about mortgage fraud is that unlike, you have to go and take forensics and dust off fingerprints if somebody breaks into a building, and you want to make sure you take pictures, and they do the measurements, and if there's a dead person, they do the chalk, and they try to put it all together. You've seen the show First 48. Well, the first 48 is most important, because if we don't solve it in the first 48 hours, the guy may get away. And we're going to go down the street, and we're going to talk to friends and check the No. I'm sorry. This is probably one of the easiest crimes to detect and one of the easiest crimes to prove. It only has a couple questions. Is that your signature? I'm just asking. Did you sign this document? No, I mean, I got experts here who will say that's your signature, so you might as well just answer. And by the way, you're an officer of the court. You're an attorney general. Is that your signature? Yes. Okay. Is this the loan application? Yes. On this loan application, it says blah, 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 blah. Is this true or is it a lie? And you're done. I mean, there's nothing else there. You're going to say, I didn't know? No, you're an attorney general. You knew. There is, I mean, it'll probably be the shortest case ever. The defense, I have no idea what, when she keeps saying, bring it on. Well, Letty, it's pretty easy. I mean, I could probably try this case, and I'm not even an attorney. And I didn't sleep at a 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. A Motel 6 or a Holiday Inn. None of that stuff. I slept in my own bed, and I probably can try this case. It's really, really simple. So I don't know how she's going to get out of a mortgage fraud case. They would have to be some sort of magician to try and pretend as though she didn't do this. The woman's toast. You're looking at a walking ghost at this point. There's no way she can get out of it. You guys who have bought real estate, you know when you buy a house or an apartment building or whatever else, you know the stack of documents. You're signing and you're signing and you're signing. Page after page after page. The promissory note, the mortgage, the deeds, all of it. It's just pages and pages and pages of her signature. What are you going to do? And then all they've got to do is go find the title company, which is usually stamped on it. Hey, did you do the closing here? Yeah. Was she sitting here? Yeah. Or did you do a mail away? Either way. Did it go to this address? Yeah. So she wasn't living here when you had to mail away the mortgage. She's done. Absolutely. That's why I say, like, I ain't got to worry about her. Pam Body's going to take care of it. Because this is an open and shut case. I'm telling you, for someone who's bought a whole lot of property, there ain't no way out of this for her. None.
Has there been any reaction to the attacks between India and Pakistan?
No, it's a shame. We just heard about it just as we were walking in the doors of the Oval. Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time. You know, they've been fighting for many, many decades and centuries, actually, if you really think about it. No, I just hope it ends very quickly.
So what he was referring to there, in case you guys have not heard the news, India decided tonight to bomb Pakistan. They decided to open up a can of whoop-you-know-what on Pakistan. Not sure why, but it is what it is. And it's going to keep going until they get whatever they want. I've got videos of the bombing, but because because we're here, I can't show that stuff to you. However, when we do the jump over, I might be able to show it to you depending on how much time we have. So just let me explain to you, those of you who haven't weren't here for the first time we did it, at about 8:30, maybe 8:45, depending how far I get in this part of the broadcast. I'm going to be doing the rest of the show at that time over on Rumble. And so you'll see, I'll let you guys know. I'm just not going to disappear. At about 8:30, 8:45, I'm going to say, hey, right now I'm cutting this off and we're going to all go over to Rumble. You're going to go to this link. It's going to take you specifically to that Rumble page. And then we're going to talk about some other things. And I've got my interview with Ted Nugent. Oh, did I tell you that? Did I tell you I interviewed Ted Nugent? Oh, that's an amazing interview. amazing interview. In fact, maybe because I'm a fanboy, but I found it to be an amazing interview. So when we get to this point, I'll post this, and so you've got time, as it's 7:45 right now, probably 45 minutes to an hour or so, maybe a little bit more, and go ahead and it's free. You don't have to pay anything to go access Rumble. Just go ahead and go to that link again, and let me leave it up for a second so the mods can make sure to put it in the chat here on YouTube so people know where to go. And I just want to clarify, I am not leaving YouTube. I am not one of the people in that lineup thing that said, "Oh, we're not going to." No, I love YouTube. I don't like the censorship, but YouTube's been very, very good to me. And so what we're doing is basically splitting broadcast, where we can do some stuff here, and then we'll do some stuff there. So just to let you know, as I move forward, the stuff I'm going to be doing on Rumble is going to be a lot different than the stuff I do here. The stuff I do here is more going to be direct news, commentary, sharing different things that I found in terms that might be of relevance that you want to see. And the stuff over at Rumble is going to be more of a, how can I say, topics I can't talk about here, and with a heavy dose of entertainment as well. So it may not be your cup of tea. I understand that. It may not be your cup of tea. And I'll explain more when we get there to that 8:30 or 8:45 juncture. But when that happens, we'll have plenty of time for you guys to get ready. All right, so now I got for you, President Trump had a task force about the World Cup. And at this World Cup task force, I believe Kristi Noem, J.D. Vance, and then, of course, the people from FIFA, F-I-F-A, the soccer, we call it soccer, some of you may call it football, organization were there. And he's talking about the World Cup coming to the United States. Let's listen in.
Thank you, JD. FIFA President Gianni Infantino, FIFA Senior Advisor Carlos Cordero, and CEO of Fox Sports, Eric Shanks. Where's Eric? Where's Eric Shanks? Hello, Eric. You got a pretty good seat. I don't know. It's not bad. If I'm looking for you at this table, you should be at this table. Hi, Eric. Along with members of my cabinet, Scott Bessent, Pam Bondi, Howard Lutnick, Sean Duffy, Kristi Noem, Russ Vogt, Deputy Secretary Christopher Landau, and Deputy Secretary Steve Feinberg. I also want to welcome two of my very good friends, Bernard Arnault and Alex Arnault. They own a little company around the world. One of their smaller companies is Tiffany, and Tiffany made the beautiful trophy, and I guess it's around here someplace, not this one, the other one, wherever it may be. There it is behind me. And it's really a work of art. But I want to just welcome Bernard and Alex. Where are you? Where are you? Okay, good. They have no lack of cash. I know that. They're great. And they're great people. We've been friends for a long time.
So some of you might be wondering, why are you covering this? Because as you saw, it must be really important because half the cabinet's there. JD, Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, Kristi Noem. So this is an important task force in meeting for America.
Thank you very much for being here. It's a great honor to have you both. We're also joined by Senators Shelley Moore Capito and Todd Young. Where are they? Where are they? Hi, Shelley. How are you? Hi, Todd. How you doing? You're getting younger looking, Todd, I'll tell you. It's pretty young to start off with, right? Oh, you too. She said, what about me? What are you two? Even more so, Todd, right? That's very cute. Representatives Damon LaHood and Brian Stile, thank you very much. Thank you very much, fellas. Thank you. Good. FBI Director Kash Patel, who's doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Kash. Appreciate it. And our Executive Director, Andrew Giuliani, just got the post, and he's going to be great. I know him for a long time. He's a highly competitive golfer, which, I mean, really good. And he's also a highly competitive person, and he loves what we're doing. So I want to congratulate you and your family and your father, your great father, who's the greatest mayor in the history of New York. So I want to congratulate the family. It's a big post. You better do well, Andrew.
All right, so in case you're not, you heard him say it, Andrew Giuliani is going to be the main dog running this task force for FIFA, and Andrew Giuliani is obviously the son of Rudy Giuliani.
Tell him, is my golf game okay too? Oh, so he knew what to say, see? Well, he's a smart person. That's why I appointed him. Together, this group will help plan the biggest, safest, and most extraordinary soccer tournament in history, and that's what it's going to be, Johnny. In my first term, I negotiated the return of the World Cup to America, and now in my second term, I'll have the honor of hosting the World Cup for the first time of any president in more than 30 years. And remember, we also have a few other events. I must tell you that we have the 2028 Olympic Games. We have the 250-year celebration of America. That's a big one. I don't know. Maybe that's the biggest. I don't know. That could be the biggest. But that's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be essentially, Todd, that's going to be a year-long celebration. We have the G20, and that'll be in December of 26. We have the G7, used to be the G8, by the way, and that's in 2027. And that's a lot of action we have going for the next 4 years, 3.5 years. It's going to be amazing for the country, I believe. Starting this June, the United States will host the 2025 Club World Cup, which will feature 32 elite soccer clubs from all over the world competing in 63 matches across 11 American cities, including Cincinnati, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Nashville, Tennessee, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we have it in 11 American cities all over. And these are great cities, too, and they like soccer more and more. I guess some of those cities specifically, they really love it. And next summer, we'll host the official 2026 World Cup tournament, where 48 national teams will compete in 78 matches right here in the USA. And that'll be something very, very different and very special. These events will attract millions of passionate fans around the world, and he's a good soccer player, too. He's a little tall for soccer, but that's okay. And over 1 billion viewers. You're going to have one of the biggest viewerships of any sport at any time. This will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to showcase the beauty and the greatness of America, and we can't wait to welcome soccer fans from all over the globe. I don't know if I'm supposed to say soccer or football, because every time I say soccer, Baron and Eric say you're really saying it wrong. It's supposed to be football, but we know it more as soccer. These events will also generate tens of billions of dollars in economic activity for local businesses and create thousands and thousands of jobs for American workers. I've directed my entire team to do everything within our power to make the World Cup an unprecedented success, and that's what it's going to be. We're going to make sure of it. The State Department, the Department of Homeland Security, and every part of the U.S. government will be working to ensure that these events are safe and successful, and those traveling to America to watch the competition have a seamless experience during every part of their visit. It's going to be very special. Together, we will ensure that the 2026 World Cup will be the best-run soccer tournament the world has ever seen. This is going to blow every other tournament you did. You're going to say how terrible a job you did in the past, because this is so much better, Gianni. This is going to blow them all away. I don't want to insult my other friends from other countries, but we're going to blow them away, right? So now I'd like to introduce, and he has been a friend of mine. We fought very hard to get the event, and I think before the media came in, I said that I was very disappointed because I got the event, Johnny. I think we can say that strongly. And then I said it won't be in my term and I won't be able to see it. And then bad things happened with the election, and now we do see it. So I just repeat that because for the press to hear, I'm sure they're thrilled to hear it. But I'd like to ask FIFA President Gianni Infantino, really one of the most powerful men in sports. It's amazing because you've done such an incredible job with soccer. Followed by Vice President J.D. Vance, then Secretary Kristi Noem, and Secretary Sean Duffy to say a few words. So, Johnny, and then we'll go in that order. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, members of the cabinet, members of the task force, the White House task force for this incredible event, or events actually, which will be happening here in America in the year to come. We were actually, Mr. President, so happy that the World Cup 2026 will take place in the United States, in Canada and in Mexico, that we thought we'll actually bring another World Cup as well here. So you get 2 World Cups in the next year, the new FIFA Club World Cup. This is the trophy of the new FIFA Club World Cup.
Did you notice where he said that? In the United States, Canada, Mexico. That's the way it's supposed to be. I had to interrupt. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, well,
It's
78 games will take place of the World Cup in the United States out of the 104 games. But the Club World Cup this year is a new competition, will take place in the United States, in 11 cities of the United States. It's new. It will make history in 250 years when they will celebrate the 250 years anniversary of the FIFA Club World Cup. Well, they will speak about this meeting. They will speak about the United States of America because it is a big event. The 32 best club teams in the world, with players from over 90 different countries, will come here for the first time in history to compete, and we'll see who is the real world champion in club football. And this happens before the World Cup, of course, next year. So in 40 days, a bit less than 40 days, on the 14th of June in Miami, we will open the FIFA Club World Cup. Opening game, the final on the 13th of July in New York, New Jersey, and in between 63 top games of the best players of the best clubs in the world who want to win this trophy here, crafted by Tiffany, and I'm thanking as well the Arnaud family for being here. They are in soccer as well now in Paris. They've just been promoted to the top division, so congratulations for that. Actually, Mr. President, soccer or football, maybe we can clarify that here.
I'll do whatever you
Let me give it a try, if I may. So we, basically, everyone outside of this beautiful country, we call football a game we play with our feet.
Right.
That's why we call it football.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
You, in this beautiful country, you call football a game you play with your hands.
That's
right? So
right.
I don't know who's right, but the important, Mr. President, whether we call it soccer or football, is that we have fun.
It's great.
That we enjoy. And that's what FIFA is about. FIFA is, I say this as well to all the media present, because everyone else knows it, FIFA is an official provider of happiness to humanity. And in the next year, we are providing happiness to humanity from the United States of America. And that's why we are happy to be here. So we have the Club World Cup this year. We have the World Cup next year, United States, Canada and Mexico. Of course, 104 games, Mr. President, 104 Super Bowls in 1 month. We'll have 6 billion viewers. The final alone will attract between 2 and 3 billion viewers. This is, 15, 20 times more than the Super Bowl. The entire world will focus on the United States of America. And America welcomes the world. I'm very happy to say that, Mr. President, because I know you. I've had meetings with several members of your cabinet as well. You have established this task force. America will welcome the world, everyone who wants to come here to enjoy, to have fun, to celebrate the game. We'll be able to do that in the host cities, in the 11 cities all over the country, in all these fan festivals that we will create. We have 10 million tickets for sale, so anyone who doesn't yet have a ticket, go on FIFA.com/tickets. 10 million tickets, 3.5 million for the Club World Cup, 6.5 million for the World Cup. And how do we measure success, Mr. President? Well, in many ways, of course. Full stadiums is one of that. The economic impact is another one of that. Dear Secretary, these 2 World Cups will bring almost 50 billion in economic output to the United States of America. They will create almost 300,000 jobs in...
See, I don't think, and I'm looking at some people in the chat here, I don't think people realize how big the World Cup is. Number one, it's the World Cup. It's not the Super Bowl just played with some American football teams. It's not the World Series, even though they call it the World Series. It's basically some teams in Canada and the United States. This is the World Cup. Now, I have the advantage of over some people by living in South Florida and seeing how rabid some of the people are from other countries about football. They're having to build a new stadium down here to host the new, I won't say new football team, Inter Miami, which joined into the MLS. They're playing in Fort Lauderdale now in a stadium they refurbished there for like 25,000 people. You can't get a ticket. Then they're moving it down to Miami. Brand new stadium. It's probably going to host probably like 50,000 people. There are going to be so many people coming to America legally to watch the World Cup, and they're going to spend a ton of money. I got a taste of it this weekend. Robin and I, as I told you, went down to meet Ashley in Miami because she had a 5-hour layover between her flight from the Dominican Republic back home. And then on our way out, F1 was this weekend. So if you guys aren't familiar with F1, it's basically IndyCar type racing, and it's loud and it's fast and it's mostly international in terms of its appeal. We have NASCAR. Americans love NASCAR, but F1 is like up here in terms of appeal internationally and in terms of monetarily. I mean, he's big money. So when you understand what the World Cup is doing and what President Trump is making such a big deal of this, is because it truly is inviting the world to the United States. And they're going to spend, as the other guy was saying, 10 million tickets. Just let that sink in for a second. 10 million tickets. That's insane. And what did he say? $50 billion of potential revenue worldwide? That's crazy. And then 300,000 jobs. So this is a very, very, very big deal. Even if you don't understand what the World Cup is, this is something that Trump is going to have as a trophy. And that's why he's got all these people around the table, because this thing has to come off without a hitch. From jobs to security to transportation, everything has to be top notch. Let's see here.
America for the celebration of 2 World Cups, which will bring the world to the United States. A few million fans will come, a few billion will watch it from home, but everyone will be happy and everyone will be celebrating how the United States of America will put up the best events ever that the world has seen. Not just sport events, but the best events. We are here for that. We are here to work for that. We are here to work all together as a team to celebrate the United States, the 250th anniversary, as well to celebrate the world and the World Cup around a soccer ball or a football, and to make sure that everything happens as well, as you said, Mr. President, in a safe, in a secure environment. So we have, and the world has, of course, full and entire confidence in the United States and in all the partners, in all the agencies, to make sure that we will bring to the world something that they have never seen and they will probably never see again. Thank you very much. We are here for that, and I'm looking forward to these 2 World Cups. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to this incredible group that we've assembled. I'm proud to be the vice chair of this for a couple of reasons. First of all, the last time the president had me around a national or international sports trophy was the college football playoff national championship, and I almost broke it. And so I appreciate the president giving me a second chance here. But as all of you know, soccer is a sport of incredible grace and finesse and beauty. These are three things that have nothing to do with politics, and so we're thrilled to have the FIFA World Cup in the United States of America. I think that you'll see the very best of the United States of America, both in athletic competition, but also in hospitality, something our boss knows quite a bit about. And so we're excited to have you. We're excited for this event, and we will do everything at the government level to make this thing as successful as we can. And I will say, before I turn it over to the next speaker, that, of course, everybody is welcome to come and see this incredible event. I know we'll have visitors probably from close to 100 countries. We want them to come. We want them to celebrate. We want them to watch the game. But when the time is up, they'll have to go home. Otherwise, they'll have to talk to Secretary No, who I'll turn it over to now.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much for dreaming big dreams and doing unprecedented things. Your entire life you have stood for doing things that other people thought they couldn't do and accomplishing unprecedented events and achievements. And so this is one of those events that I think is going to be remarkable and will stand the test of time as the world's greatest sporting event ever held and conducted. You are honoring us by agreeing to be the chairman of this event. The vice president has greatly honored us by being the vice chair. And also we have a remarkable leader in Andrew Giuliani who stepped up and will be the executive director of making sure that we're not just conducting and hosting people from all around the world, but that we're also doing it safely. You have tasked our department, the Department of Homeland Security, with making sure these events are safe and secure. And it will be a challenge, but one that we welcome because we know that America is in a place where we invite people to be a part of our livelihood. We want to expose all of the American people to the wonders of this sport. And I believe that the old proverb that says, what you see with your eyes, you carry with your heart, is what will happen when we host this event. Carlos has agreed to step up and be a senior advisor as well to the task force, and his knowledge and expertise has been incredibly valuable in all of the meetings and organizational efforts that we've already put forward. So, sir, you know, as all of us do that have participated in sports, that there's something that happens when you're involved in competition. You spend time with people, you relax, you are out there enjoying success, but also recognizing failures and challenges and overcoming them. There's the bonding that happens among people, and I believe that's what you are doing, is creating an opportunity for the world to become a friendlier place. We will welcome over 2 million visitors that will come here from other countries. We will have 10 million different tickets. 22 million people will interact with these activities. And it is an opportunity to have people bond with each other, to create a friendlier world where we will be able to do business, we'll be able to enjoy their visits here, we will take care of their documentation and travel documents, and it will go smoothly, and we will make sure that they can come and enjoy and bring their families and friends and make memories together. It's going to be incredibly special. So thank you for leading at an unprecedented time and doing so with big visions for the future. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much, Christy. Appreciate it. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. President. "11 U.S. cities, 78 games in the U.S., and I think you said it's just like 78 Super Bowls next summer in the U.S. So this is massive, Mr. President. Thank you for putting together the task force. You know that.
Okay, so somebody asked in the chat, how many different cities? Now you know. I was waiting to see. I thought it might be Sean that would have to say it. 11 different cities, meaning 11 different stadiums around the country. Probably, obviously, they're going to play down here quite a bit. Probably New York. I'd say the big cities are going to put them in stadiums. And then someone else had said that, you know, soccer is boring. I may find soccer boring myself. I may find golf boring. The difference is, it's not just the match. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever gone to a World Cup match, or even like when I've gone here to Inter Miami, I don't know anything really about soccer. I just watch a bunch of guys in shorts running around kicking balls, okay? And they score once in a while. However, the atmosphere is infectious. I mean, you're sitting there and people like, they're blowing those things, what they call the babubalas or whatever, and they all know every player's name, and they scream, and it's amazing. I mean, you have probably been to a great tailgate. I mean, I've gone to some football games and experienced some amazing tailgates and fun. You ain't seen nothing like these people. I mean, the whole family comes out. It's crazy with electricity and atmosphere. So even though I don't really understand, in fact, it's funny, my college roommate, or one of them, we lived in a fraternity house, but my roommate was the captain of the soccer team. And I don't know what the heck they were doing. You run around in shorts, and they probably felt the same thing about me. So you just run around and run into people. Yeah, that's pretty much what we did. But it's the atmosphere. It's the event that, you know, is pretty much synonymous, and people from all walks of life can enjoy that, even if you don't really know what the heck is going on the field.
Great events don't happen unless you have great planning and starting well over a year in advance, putting your team together to make sure this event goes off without a hitch. I thank you for that. As part of the DOT, again, we're going to move a lot of people around the country. A lot of American spectators, but a lot of foreign spectators are going to come into the country, and security and safety is key. We're going to work with Homeland and Christie to make sure we secure our airspace around these events. We're moving people from city to city and from hotels to the fan festivals to the stadiums, making sure we have enough transportation, whether it's trains and buses in the cities that host this great event. We're working through that, as well as making sure our airlines and our airports are ready to facilitate the travel throughout the country. And so this is everyone working together. What I think is great, Mr. President, I have to imagine this was part of the plan. You're like, let's bring in the World Cup in the year of America's 250th birthday. So not only is America going to celebrate our 250th, we're going to bring in millions of people to celebrate with us. I know State and Homeland and DOT and all of us are going to work together to make sure it is seamless travel. We want everyone to come to America. We want everyone to spend a lot of money in America. By the way, as part of the DOT's 250 celebration, we're going to encourage everyone to go on a road trip, Mr. President, to celebrate our great country. And so if you're coming to see some soccer, not football or soccer, go on a road trip, see America. Don't overstay your visa, don't stay too long, but when you come, actually see this great country that we're going to celebrate over the course of the next year. And again, we welcome everyone. This team is going to work full-heartedly together to make sure these events go off without a hitch, and we're all able to celebrate the great athletes from around the world, 48 countries coming in to compete in our great country. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you. Would you have any questions of these great people or anybody around the table, please? Yeah, please go ahead.
What's the Prime Minister of Canada? Oh, you got a mic. Canada here today, and with him and with also the President of Mexico, there's been some recent tensions between them and the United States. Are you worried about any problems with that joint partnership as co-hosts of the World Cup next year?
No, I don't see any tension either. We get along very well with both. They're just going to pay a little more money, you know. They're just they're getting away with things that they shouldn't be, and they understand. We had a great meeting today, actually, with the new Prime Minister, who's a terrific guy, and we had a very long session with JD and Marco and everybody, and it went very well. No, we had a very great meeting, and no tension. We want to do what's right for our respective peoples, and that's what's going to happen. And also with Mexico, I think the relationship is really very good with the president of Mexico, as you know, you probably heard. And we're going to have a very good relationship with regard to FIFA. I have no doubt about it. Johnny would know better than anybody, but you understand. I mean, I think the relationship is very good. Thank you very much. Question? Yeah, please.
Right, before the next question, again, these people don't realize when they're asking questions, they're showing them that they're idiots. They're showing people, like, wait a second, this is the biggest event in the world. Not just for the United States, but it's the biggest event in the world for Mexico. And it's the biggest event in the world for Canada, including the Stanley Cup. And you think, with everything at stake, with the Mexicans and the Canadians, this is going to cause problems between them and Trump. No, they're going to be too worried about taking care of their own business. And obviously that media nut didn't even understand that.
Be the level of interaction, cooperation with Canada and Mexico as it relates to next year's World Cup? Are you already talking to them?
Here we are. It's total, complete. We talked about it even today at our meeting with Canada, and the level is total. It's going to be perfect. Going to be beautiful. They're very excited about it. Yeah, please.
Visa applications for people around the world who want to come to the United States for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And if I may, just a second question for maybe Mr. Duffy. Secretary Duffy, is there anything long-lasting transportation-wise that Americans can expect from infrastructure being built for the World Cup?
So we'll start with Christy in terms of the applications.
Absolutely. This summer, by hosting the club championships, we're processing those travel documents and visa applications already and working with Carlos and Johnny and their team to make sure that they're done timely and being proactive of it. And that is obviously going to be a precursor to what we can do next year for the World Cup as well. So it is all being facilitated. We appreciate the partnership that we've got on all of this with the State Department as well. And I know we've got the Attorney General and Cash at the FBI too, interested in being all hands on deck to make sure this goes smoothly.
Thank you. Sean?
Yeah, so basically these are going to be short-term needs. So we're going to have to bring in, buses and additional forms of transportation. Miami doesn't have the capacity with their transit system to carry all of the people who are going to go from hotels and restaurants to stadiums and the fan centers. So we're going to have to manage those assets, bring them in from around the country to move people, but they won't be needed there long term. So again, I don't foresee long-term changes. This is a short-term push of folks coming in to see great soccer matches, and then they'll go home.
Okay. Yeah, please.
About your thoughts on Madison Square Garden. The Transportation Department recently took over the refurbishment of Penn Station, and I was wondering if you have an opinion on the proposal to move Madison Square Garden to allow for a more classical train station to be built above.
To move it?
To move it, yes.
I don't know, that was thought of years. Jim Dolan's going to have something to say about that, and I've not heard of any recent plans. They tried to do that for years. They've tried to move it. But I think Jim probably likes his location sitting on top of all the trains. I can't blame him necessarily. There's not too much of a move. They are going to do something with Penn Station. We'll be involved in that. We'll work with the governor, and we'll be involved with that very much. Okay? Thank you. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Have asked for more than $600 million in federal funding for security. Do you support that? And perhaps Secretary Noem can weigh in.
On security? Yeah. Yeah, I support really whatever that takes. And any money that's spent will make up many-fold in terms of all of the economic development. These events, especially what we're talking, and you have FIFA and then you have the Olympics. And these events, if properly done, make a tremendous amount of money. And prestige. I think it's a great allure and prestige for our country and for the cities where they are. It's going to be amazing, yeah, but we won't hold back at all on security, most importantly. Okay, thank you. Yeah, please.
First question, is there any reason you haven't referred to Mark Carney as governor as you did with Trudeau? And the second question, you said earlier that you don't have to sign any trade deals, of course. Is there any country you expect to sign a trade deal with this week, as Secretary Bessent has indicated?
Well, we're looking at a lot of them. We're talking to a lot of them right now. I think I don't want to bore people with that, but I gave a very long definition this morning in the Oval Office. We're in very, very good shape. This country's never been in better shape, and we're doing great. We were being ripped off by every country in the world virtually, and now we're not being ripped off anymore. It's very simple, very, very simple. As far as calling him Governor Carney, no, I haven't done that yet, and maybe I won't. I did have a lot of fun with Trudeau. But I think this is a big step up. It's a good step up for Canada. I watched very closely. I thought he did really terrifically in the debates. I like him. He's a nice man. We get along very well. We had a great meeting today. Really good. I think the relationship's going to be very strong. Thank you. Yes.
Russia is banned from playing the next World Cup. What's your position on this?
Say it again.
Russia has been banned from playing the next World Cup. What's your position on this?
I didn't know that. Is that right?
Yeah.
You want to
That
explain
is right.
that?
They are banned for the time being, yeah,
Okay.
from playing. But we hope that
He's the boss. I'm not the boss on that. I have nothing to do
we hope
with
that something happens and peace will happen, and then Russia
possible.
can be readmitted. So that's what we
possible. Hey, that could be a good incentive, right? We want to get them to stop. We want them to stop. We want the 5,000 young people a week are being killed. It's not even believable. The Russian soldiers and the Ukrainian soldiers mostly. Also people in towns every 2 weeks. Horrible thing going on over there. So we're gonna get that war stopped. Okay.
About all of the events that will be happening here in the U.S. over the next few years. You mentioned the G7 and you said it used to be called the G8.
Yeah.
As the host country, you can actually invite Russia to the G7 plus one. What's your thinking on that right now, Mr.
Well, Russia used to be a member of what was called then the G8. And I don't think I was really in politics at that point, but I know that President Obama didn't like it. And they voted Russia out. And I say if they didn't vote Russia out, which I thought was a very foolish decision because it's a group of people sitting around a table. I've done it many times with them, and you get to know them. And I say that if it was the G8, if Russia were in it, I think you probably wouldn't have this ridiculous, deadly war going on right now. I thought it was a very bad decision. It was headed by Trudeau, by the way, and Obama. They were the ones that really fought hard to get Russia out. I think if Russia were in, you wouldn't be. They threw them out. And because of that, maybe millions of people are dying. Millions, millions. The numbers are far greater than you think, but millions of people are dying. If he was sitting around a table with other people, 7 people, hammering him and saying, let's not do this, I think you wouldn't probably have had the problems that you've had.
To get Russia back into this group?
No, I think it's not good timing now. No, right now it's we missed that gate, didn't we? Huh? We missed that gate with another great decision by some people that shouldn't have been making decisions. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. President, should people who have taken part in, for example, pro-Palestinian protests across the world be concerned about being able to join the World Cup and watching here in the U.S.?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that, but people that have taken part in protests, I think people are allowed to protest. You have to do it in a reasonable manner, not necessarily friendly, but reasonable. Otherwise, Pam will come after you and you're going to have a big problem. You're going to have a big problem, right, Pam? She's doing a good job, too. Well, my whole team here is doing a fantastic job. We're very proud of them. So, yeah, you have a right to protest. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Do you support Israel's plan to conquer Gaza if Hamas doesn't agree to a deal during your visit?
That's a soccer
strange question.
idiot.
I never like when they read them off a machine. I don't know. Who's sending you the question to you? And let's not talk about that now. We're talking about the World Cup. Go ahead. What else? Anything else? I think we're pretty well set. I want to thank everybody, and we're going to make this tremendously successful. And you can see Johnny's a very enthusiastic man. He's got great enthusiasm, and that's one of the reasons that you've had such success over the last number of years that you've been there. Amazing. He's like somebody that just woke up on Christmas morning as a young child and saw those toys under the tree, and that enthusiasm really plays very well, I have to say. And you've done a fantastic job as the head, and we're gonna do what we have to do. And thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, very much. Appreciate it.
I hope President Trump does that more and more and more when he's talking to the press. I'm talking about this. I'm not taking any questions outside of this. So if you came in here to disrupt my people and talk about something we're not talking about, you might as well leave now. What? Israel? What do you think about Israel taking over Gaza? Is that the name of a player? You moron? That's absolutely insane. So did have a little bit of breaking news I wanted to share with you, so let's check this out real quick.
The world has been coming to the U.S., and China has been the missing piece. I was going to be in Switzerland to negotiate with the Swiss. Turns out the Chinese team is traveling through Europe, and they will be in Switzerland also. So we will meet on Saturday and Sunday. And, look, we have shared in.
All right, so this is huge. As you can see by the chyron up there, this happened at 7 o'clock tonight. Scott Bessent has announced that China and the United States will be meeting and talking trade in Switzerland. All day long, President Trump has been saying, you know what, there might be a deal here or deal there. Something might be happening. And they've been asking about China. And now it appears that there is going to finally be a sit down in a neutral location. So let's finish what he's saying here.
That this isn't sustainable, as I said before, especially on the Chinese side. And, 145%, 125% is the equivalent of an embargo. We don't want to decouple. What we want is fair trade.
But who made the first call? Like in a dating world, like who makes the first call here today?
There are lots of calls, Laura, is that there isn't a first call. There are a lot of contact points over time.
All right, so you heard it. Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Treasury, has now come out and said they will be meeting with China this weekend. So he's going to be leaving the country, going to go sit down with the Chinese contingent, and maybe over the next, 7 days or so, they might be able to hammer out a deal. Whatever that deal ends up, it's going to be something that really, really affects China more than it affects us, because we don't need China. There may be some people in the United States who feel that because they want cheap stuff. But the reality of it is they need us. They need this economy to fuel their economy. Without us, you're taking that right off the table. That's absolutely huge. Like Lisa says, MAGA, baby. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let me go ahead and, what am I going to do here? All right, so before we switch over, I want to go over this with you, and this is tonight's 10 stories. Let's do this.
Here's the big finish. 10 stories that you just gotta hear. Number 10.
The other part of that, and that's something that we're in the middle of right now, and that is this budget reconciliation bill. If we lock in tax rates, meaning no tax increases, and you not only renew current tax rates for 10 years, but permanently, if we get a permanent American tax code where rates aren't going to be subject to going up depending on who's in Congress, I think that'll bring even more stability to the economy and trillions of new investment that is just sitting on the sidelines right now.
Number 9.
A full suite of consequences here on this. What about the threat of blocking mergers? And that's particularly interesting on Verizon, who you've also requested some information, I know, on the DEI front and trying to get their deal done with Frontier Communications. Would you potentially block that deal because of DEI policy?
Yeah, of course. We've been working with Verizon, though. I think we've got that in a pretty good shape. Hope to see some progress on that in the next couple of weeks. But I've told everybody that if they want to get a deal done before the FCC, they need to get rid of any invidious forms of discrimination. Again, the FCC has EEO rules. We can't approve a transaction unless we find that it's in the public interest. So we're working through these DEI issues with a lot of different companies that are trying to get deals done at the FCC.
And on the question...
All right, so those two things kind of go hand in hand with me. That was Steve Scalise was in the first clip talking about doing the beautiful, big, beautiful deal and getting the tax cuts done. And the FCC chairman saying, hey, listen, you want these big mergers, you're going to have to get rid of the DEI stuff as well. To me, I think that I put that a lot together because those two things together, just to explain, reconciliation, as you heard earlier from Representative Hunt, you don't need 60 votes. You only need a majority to get that done. So if they get the majority done with the reconciliation on the big, beautiful deal, America is going to explode financially. Just want you to be ready for that, because as things move forward, if those mergers happen, you saw the numbers. Tens of billions of dollars. Couple that with tax savings. And now you got China wanting to sit down with Scott Bessent. That's like the perfect storm of prosperity for America. Those things come together, Democrats are done. And nobody's going to care what they have to say. Because as I've mentioned many times, even the nuts are going to be able to benefit from what President Trump is putting together.
Number 8.
The president believes we can achieve more together. This is the abundant vision he has for the future. He wants everyone to be a part of it. Thousands of businesses are now catching the president's vision. Since he assumed office in January, companies have pledged to invest trillions into the U.S. economy. President Trump has secured more investment for our country in 100 days than President Biden did during all 4 years.
And you know what's funny? That's an irrefutable stat. The Democrats can't talk about what see, this is very interesting to me. Whenever you watch them on television, and I've got some cuts for you because it's comic relief. They can't talk about what Trump is doing. Because if they talk about what Trump is doing, it destroys them. So they have to make up stuff and just keep fanning the flames of the nuts and say, DEI, DEI. Meanwhile, in about 3 weeks, all we're going to have is bullhorns full of DEI. You know what happens in June. You know what month that is. So it's kind of hard for them to say, well, hey, we're kind of oppressed and he wants to take away this. And yet across the country, in most of these liberal areas, we're going to see parade after parade after parade. So they have nothing that they can say negative about Trump that's actually true.
Earners, too, are starting to understand what the president is trying to accomplish. March saw one of the highest levels ever recorded for new business applications. Many of these men and women, like many of you, are grasping that America First is a blueprint for a more abundant world.
Number 7.
I can say that I am highly confident that we have 18 important trading partners. We'll put China to the side. The 17 other partners, many of them have approached us with the very good trade proposals. President Trump is going to be involved in all of those. He will be the final decision maker. And we'll see where that goes. But I think that at the end of this, even if we have tariffs still in place, because the non-tariff trade barriers are coming down, because we can see an end to some of the currency manipulation, the unfair subsidy of labor and capital from the other countries, we could see the more frictionless trade.
I know sometimes when I talk about financial stuff, some people get tuned out. They think it's a bad thing. And I'm sitting here talking to Robin and we're salivating. If you're not paying attention to what's about to happen, you're going to miss out. There's nothing wrong with you seeking a more prosperous life. There's nothing wrong with you seeking to take better care financially of your family and your loved ones. There is so much about to happen. I feel like we're strapped onto a stallion like at the Kentucky Derby and we're just waiting for the gates to open. And when those gates open, you better be holding on. And also you better make sure you got a good horse. See, a lot of people are in the media is keeping people away from even getting in the horse race. They don't even want you to know what's going on. I try to bring it to you because I'm like, this is about to break loose. Those gates are going to fly open and people who got the good horses are going to be in this race while everybody else is in the bleachers wondering what the hell is going on. I mean, literally, you can use whatever analogy you want. Rocket ship, horse race, things are about to explode. And if they happen in the timing that it looks like, you're going to see so much anticipatory prosperity like you've never seen. What'll happen to you personally when they pass no tax on tips? What'll happen to you personally when there's no income tax on overtime? What is going to happen to you when there's no income tax on Social Security? Well, if you're like most humans, you're going to be spending more. Yeah, some of us will save, but you're like, hey, I just got an extra whatever. Hey, honey, you want to go out to dinner? You want to go to a movie? You want to do something? You want to talk about maybe doing some traveling as we're getting into the summer? Understand, no tax on overtime. So you've got policemen and firemen and all kinds of construction people who are customarily working overtime. And there's no income tax on that? Man, I know some police officers. I gotta call my police officer buddy up in Central Florida and go, hey man, how many hours do you work at construction sites? And now all of that will be tax-free? Just think to yourself, how much more money that would be if every time you look at your overtime earnings and it's like net. You're not having to pay taxes on that. That's huge. So let me ask you a question. If they pass this through the budget reconciliation by August, that's what Wesley Hunt was saying. They pass this, and you're not having to pay taxes on all those things. I don't want to name them all over again. Are you going to care if your dollar store stuff is all of a sudden $1.75? Is it going to bother you that it's more expensive? No. Why? Because you're not paying the taxes, your grocery prices are less, your gas is less, and so everything around it is less. And so if you want to go pick up a trinket from budget store, go ahead. That's the kind of mindset it defeats the Democrats. It kills them. They can't cry because people are like, I got more money, so I don't care if it goes up a little bit. That's the catch. That's why they're fighting the tax cuts, because they want you to feel the pain. They don't want these tax cuts to happen, because then they could blame Trump. Oh, people they're dying out here. They got no money. Well, that's because you won't let the tax cuts take place. And I'm telling you, it's going to go off the chain.
6. The safety net that had been basically now being put back together for those communities, which was being overburdened by the illegal immigration. So get the American people so they have, as they say, you said you'd do it and you did it and we appreciate it. But again, the important thing is that we elected him for a variety of reasons that were important. Inflation, the border, DEI, the military, respect for America, and things like, just tweeting out a picture of you as the Pope is deeply offensive to a great many people.
I'm done with these cucks. I'm done with the Trey Gowdies and Karl Rose of the world who find their depends are too tight. You can't laugh? Are you kidding me? How many pictures, blimps, music videos, you name it, that people have put on Trump? Can't count them. You're sounding like the people in China. You're sounding like the people in Europe. You're pissed off because there's a meme. A meme. He went on Fox News. They let him on here, and he's crying and whining about a meme. These people need to be exercised. Get rid of them. Get them out of the party.
Out there and saying, for example, this guy from Maryland, I don't know whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know if he's a gang member or not. But the fact is bring him back to the United States, lay out the facts in a court of law.
Did you hear him? Now he went from saying, don't make pictures about the Pope, to bring the Maryland man. I don't know if he's good or bad. You haven't been paying attention, Carl. Go ask your wife's boyfriend if you can pay attention to what's going on. He seriously just said that. So at this point, he's ruined his entire credibility, whatever he had left, by saying, I don't know if he's bad. Bring him back here and let him go through a court of law. Are you flipping kidding me?
And get it done. Don't. It does no good to let that thing go out there for 4 or 5 weeks and eat away at the president's approval on immigration. Take a look at the difference between approval ratings on the border, where he is in positive territory by a good margin, and handling the issue of immigration, which includes these other things, and it's significantly less, and he's upside down. That shows the discernment of the American people. Recognize that.
Said it again. Republicans don't know how to win. I just can't with these people. Can't.
5.
Worth at a certain point in his life.
That's all true.
So now watching how this second term has played out, what do you make of it? And what do you make of his motivation at this stage and how he's changed?
Well, I mean, I think his motivations have always stayed the same. You know, you can understand most of what he does through two lenses. It's either self-aggrandizement or self-preservation. It's really rarely anything other than those two things. And I think when he's getting into a Sunday show where he's kicking around the idea of whether he'll run again, I agree with Max. I don't think we can believe anything he's saying. I think Donald Trump would like to live till he's 300, and I think he'd like to be president for 200 more years if he could. And I don't think we'll really know where he lands on this till we get towards the end of his term. You know, he was happy putting out under the White House imprimatur photos of himself in the guise of the Pope.
These people was lit. I can't imagine. How would you go to a party with these people? I cannot believe he put out himself as a picture of the Pope. Huh?
I don't think he's got any inclination to let it just go away, whether or not he's going to run for the presidency again. But as I was watching that clip, you know, one of the things that really struck me is Donald Trump has aged. You know, when people talk about the things that are going to get in the way of a third term for Donald Trump, obviously it's voters, obviously it's the 22nd Amendment, but he's turning 79 in June. He lives in fear of going down the path his father went down, which was dementia followed by Alzheimer's.
These people, and I'm only showing this for some comedic relief here, because this is what they're being fed on the left. This is the kind of stuff that they're being told, and people just nod along. Yes, you're so right. He's worried about having dementia. I don't even, like I said, and I've told you many times, they have nothing. This is what you're spending network television time on, talking about Donald Trump. You think, he must have said, I think this. Nobody gives a shit what you think. What do you know? Well, I know you're an idiot because right now you're trying to tell people Donald Trump is he's possibly going to get dementia.
His 90s, and I think he's carried that burden forever. And watching how he answers questions now, compared to Donald Trump and Trump 1.0, he slurs his words a little, he looks weary, he is slouched, and I don't know how much authentic enthusiasm he has for the power and the office he holds, other than the fact that it keeps him out of jail. And it keeps him center stage.
So who inherits all of this?
Even the guy next to him was like, oh, come on, man. I know I'm supposed to play the stooge up here with you, but you brought that out, and that he's worried about staying out of jail, and oh, my goodness, wow. You have a serious self-awareness problem, as most Democrat media people do. You're just spewing stuff with no kind of reality attached to it. Does he look tired? Well, let's see. You put him through a legal thing where you kicked in his front door and he had to go to court every single day for I don't know how long. And then you tried to shoot him, not once, but twice. One time you did shoot him. And so I think there would be a little bit of worrisome showing on his face. But we've also seen his events where he comes back looking completely refreshed. Like almost anybody would if they're worried about, are they going to shoot at me again today?
J.D.
When
Vance.
it's inevitably over. J.D. Vance, you're sure of that?
Well, I mean,
you mentioned Marco Rubio in the interview.
Yeah, I just don't see that. Donald Trump, I think Marco Rubio is a chess piece to Donald Trump. I think he looks at J.D. Vance as someone who could be his successor. And I think he's going to play a significant role in a Vance presidency, should Vance become president. Anyway.
So do you agree with that?
No, I don't think anyone inherits it. You know, what we've seen.
Number 4.
The reason I played that, and I didn't want to piss anybody off, but here's the reason why I played that. It is, let me check my watch, May of 2025. Donald Trump has been in office for a little over 100 days. Why in the hell are we having any discussions about who his successor is going to be? You're telling me you guys have checked out until 2028? There's nothing we can talk about right now. Let's talk about who the successor's going to be. But, I mean, it's 2025. You guys are went into fast forward, warp speed, went ahead. Hey, okay, we can't do anything right now. We're done. Well, who are we going to run against in 2028? See, if you read between the lines what these people are saying, they're telling you, we got nothing. We have absolutely nothing. Let's talk about who we're going to try and beat in 2028. It's only been 100 days. Y'all got a long time to go. If you're already talking about his successor, and it's just over 100 days, oh, you got a long 4 years ahead of you.
Rev, that in the Biden administration, when you had 5 million people coming across the border illegally over, a couple of years, much easier to have those deportation numbers up because so many illegal immigrants were coming in. Now the border's quiet. Right. And so again, as we predicted beforehand, it is extraordinarily expensive to deport people. This wasn't going to be as easy as it would have been during the Biden administration because, again, 5 million were let in illegally. Mm-hmm. They're at the border, and that's what Barack Obama did with his deportations. A lot of these non-judicial deportations were already close to the border, so it was much easier to deport without going through the judicial process that we're talking about.
It is not only more expensive, it then borders on a lot of questions of civil liberties for people that are legally here, because now you're going into the mainland of the United States and you're grabbing people.
Wait. Did he just admit that Joe Biden let in 5 million people? I'm pretty sure I watched it twice, and I'm like, did they just kind of yada over that? Oh yeah, Joe Biden let in like 5-6 million people, but it would have been easier to go ahead and deport them because they were still close to the border. And then I don't know what Al Sharpton just said. They're here legally. No, they're not. and I think about who sits in front of the television and listens to this and doesn't throw up. How do you, what? Wait, what? Did you just admit that he brought in 5 million people that you know of? Yeah, okay. And the other idiot's like, yeah, and it would have been easier before. Well, then why didn't he do it? Why didn't he do it? If it would have been easier from before, then why'd he do it? Why'd he let him in? Oh, that's right. Now they're here legally, he says.
No due process, who maybe should be here legally, and who are, in the cases of a Garcia, the wrong people. So when it was done at the border with Obama and
I know some of you guys hate watching this stuff, but I try to let you guys see how crazy this is. It makes no sense. He's the wrong guy. Wrong guy for what? Nobody felt it necessary to correct him and say, what do you mean wrong guy? No one's... Wow.
And Biden, you had less risk of that.
Number 3.
No respect for any religion except himself.
And ultimately, this is about propaganda, right? And I think Ruth Benguia made this point earlier in the show, which I think is very important. Even if they do this in jest, and J.D. Vance came out and said that this is a joke, or he can take this as a joke, he ultimately is pushing the boundaries of what we think is acceptable, normal, joking behavior. Donald Trump is not a comedian. And for me, where I draw the line is, look, if he makes this offensive comment as a private citizen on his own private individual account, so be it. But the problem is that it gets reposted by the official White House account. That is your account, my account, everyone's account. That is our taxpayer dollars that are paying for it. The White House official social media account should not be mocking American Catholics or Catholics around the world, but certainly not American Catholics who are going through a period of mourning right now and whose tax dollars should not be used to mock their religion in any way, shape, or form.
And earlier today, you were talking about some of the hypocrisy here.
Yes.
That there was a lot of Sturm and Drang about the use of the Last Supper during the
Paris Olympics, and then they were offended by that, but this one, they were.
Well, I can guarantee you the attention.
Excuse me. I want you all, if you happen to live near it, I live near it, to take some pictures about what you're about to see throughout the month of June. And if you go back and look at some of the things that Obama did and Biden did while they, on Easter, the holiest day of Christianity and Catholics, on Easter, what did Joe Biden do? I'll wait for it. It was a Transformer Day of recognition. Good gosh. You remember? On Easter. I'm thinking to myself, self, do these people just not realize we have memories? We remember the pictures of the fake boobies being held up on Easter. You remember? That just wasn't an official post. That was the actual White House and the grounds that we pay for. And then how about when you awash the White House in all of the colors of the rainbow? No, I don't think there were any Catholics offended. I don't think there were any Christians offended with that. Silly people. I know, we should just get over it.
American online platforms have become seas of racism, misogyny, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and hate in all its forms. And they're being used by criminals to harm our children. My government will act. And today we're announcing our plan to fight crime, to protect Canadians, and to build communities that are safe, secure, and strong. A plan to make Canada secure, to make Canada strong.
So, I was hoping today when that guy was sitting with President Trump, that President Trump would turn to him and say, "What the hell are you talking about? I just watched you do a speech, dude, where you're talking about censoring your whole country. Is that what you're going to be doing? Because Canada, that's what he said. I'm about to flip the switch and none of you guys have the ability to discern anything because memes are bad and it's, it's so homophobic and claustrophobic and xenophobic and all the other phobies. I'm here to protect you by turning it off."
And you want me to sit in my seat and stand idly by and allow this craziness to happen? You can come after me if you want, but you elected me to stand up. You elected me to use the law. You elected me to go to court. You elected me to continue to challenge this administration. You elected me to stand up for the least of God's children. You elected me to continue fighting on, and I will fight on.
I saw somebody said in the comments that she'll never get convicted based on the documents that some guy had seen. And I'm like, I don't know what he's looked at, but I've actually looked at the mortgage documents. And if you haven't looked at the mortgage document and the loan that she actually took out and how it was for, a single family versus her living there, it's going to be very hard. The only way she doesn't get convicted, the only way that I'll go out and say she doesn't get convicted, if they somehow get her case in front of some liberal judge. If they get her in front of the right judge, which hopefully Pam Bondi could do just the opposite of what the Democrats do. Say, hey, listen, we're not going to deal with this crap. We are going to put it in front of a judge that's got some sort of sense about him. Then she's toast. She's toast. She's got to count on it being put, I don't know where the properties are. I think it was Virginia. She's got to hope that she gets a judge that, will look the other way because she's, Big Letty. That's about it. So that's crazy. So I want you guys to know, I'm going to flip over to Rumble in a second, and I want you guys to basically go there. In about 90 seconds, 2 minutes, I'm gonna flip over. We're gonna go there, and we're gonna do the interview with Ted Nugent, talk about some other things that have popped up, and begin doing things there. So now would be a good time. Now would be a good time for you to make the leap, make the change, because I'd say within the next 2 or 3 minutes, this stream is going to end on X and YouTube. And then it's only going to be available on Rumble. So I just want you to know, it's up there. Go ahead, mods, everybody. Let me see. Super chats on X. Okay, I mean on YouTube. Yes, I will do the super chats on YouTube as well. So let me go ahead and talk to you first about Patriot Addict. Patriot Addict, we'll talk about that first. No, we're going to talk about tax day. All right, tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline or still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement until he does away with the taxes. Every day you wait only makes things worse. With over 5,000 new tax liens filed daily and tools like property seizures, bank levies, wage garnishments, the IRS is applying pressure at levels we haven't seen in years. Also, they're using increased administrative scrutiny to move collections along much faster. The good news is there is still time for Tax Network USA to help. If you're self-employed or a business owner, even if your books are a mess, they've got it covered. Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. Even after the deadline, it's not too late to regain control. Your consultation is completely free, and acting now could stop penalties, threatening letters, phone calls, and surprise levies before they even escalate. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Barry. Again, that's tnusa.com/Barry. You may have missed the April 15th deadline, but you haven't run out of options. Let Tax Network USA help you before the IRS makes the next move. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Barry. tnusa.com/Barry. All right, so let me go ahead and read the YouTube super chats as we're about to bounce out of here. And thank you, SV, for reminding me, because I was ready to flip the button and everything. So let me just keep this up so you guys can see where to go to begin getting over there while I get the super chats in place. And here we go. Let me find my other window. Where's the window? Okay. Here we go. All right, so let me get the window. Tilly. Hello, Tilly. Good evening, Barry, your lovely wife, daughter, and all Fanfare family. Thank you. How you doing, Tilly? And I did recognize you without there having to be anything paid. Buddy Sanders, terrorists attacking India come from Pakistan. I like the way to say that. Pakistan. Thank you, buddy. Tommy Radcliffe. It's all clubs. I skied for Lake Tahoe Ski Club at Squaw Valley from 10 years old. It's the only way to compete in FIS point system, Federation International Skiers, World Cup and Olympics. Clubs, baby. Donna, Trump worked hard to get the World Cup here. Some think it's boring, but there are 3.5 million soccer fans around the world. I think you meant billion. I think you meant 3.5 billion soccer fans. Tilly, thank you. Nori Cat, still not tired of winning. Tilly again, Barry, I could listen to you 24/7. You ease my heart and anxiety. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. I am Planet Hermit. They can DEI these nuts. Oh gosh, my texts are going off here. Mr. Mike. I haven't seen you in a while, Mr. Mike Barry. I think the only reason why there's rhinos or obstructive Republicans is because they're on the liberal payroll. Yep, Elon's been saying that. Dave Rutan from Canada. Carney's goal is to make us a socialist country and an unarmed country. Oh, that's scary. That's unarmed means unsafe. You're right. And MAGA Mama, love and miss you all. Where you been? I didn't know. Did something happen? Not really sure. Let me just see what that text was from. Make sure I didn't forget anybody. Got the super chats. All right. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to play the break, and during the break, I'm going to hit the switch, And then within, I don't know, a minute or so, what's going to happen is the YouTube is just going to come up and say, hey, continue watching on Rumble. And it's going to be just a big banner that says, hey, go here. Here is the link. We're only at the halfway point of this show. Somebody earlier said, hey, is Barry going to go on any further because he's been on earlier? No, you're at the halfway point. So you're going to miss a whole bunch if you don't jump over. So we're going to jump over, and I'm going to play the break music, and then when it comes up, we're only going to be on over there. So we'll see you over there in 2 minutes.